Most of us don't expect to lose our jobs or to be laid off, but being prepared can make a huge difference if it does happen. After being unemployed from a layoff for almost a year, I realized that there are 5 things that everyone can do to help secure their career and their finances. Whether you're employed, searching for a job, or maybe you're just starting out in your career. These steps aren't just for emergencies. They are habits that can help you feel more confident and more in control of your future no matter what comes your way. So lesson number 1 is to optimize your LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn is a really great tool to not only help you find jobs, but to network and also get yourself visible to recruiters and hiring managers. So you want to make sure that you have a professional profile picture, that your headline is completely filled out, and that your description box is filled out as well. You want your LinkedIn to reflect your resume. So you also want to add your employment history onto your LinkedIn as well. So if you want to learn more about optimizing your LinkedIn profile, or maybe how to craft the best headline or the most engaging description, then go ahead and check out the description box below, because I linked some videos that were really helpful to me and videos that I used during my time of being unemployed to optimize my LinkedIn profile. The second lesson is to make sure that your resume has impact statements. So my resume prior to losing my job and being laid off did not have impact statements at all. It just had what I did in the role. And while that is important, you want to show employers and recruiters the impact you made on that business or in that past role. So for example, I previously worked in a call center and we always had customer service reviews. So at the end of the call, a customer had the option to take a review and to rate my service. My customer service rating was always somewhere in the high 90s, like 96, 97. So that's something that I put on my resume. Additionally, in my previous role as an analyst, I had to complete tickets on time. So I listed that I had a 97% on-time ticket closure. This is one of the mistakes that I made at my previous roles, is that I never wrote down the exact numbers for the impact that I made in previous roles. So that's something that I definitely recommend doing now if you haven't done so already. But I did have to use an estimation just because I could not go back and look at my ticket closure rate once I was laid off and lost access to the company systems. Just overall, it's really important to have some quantifiable data, some numbers on your resume so you can show not only what you did, but the results. You want to have results. You can also use your STAR method in the employment history where you explain the situation, the task, and the action and result. Sometimes that can be helpful to use as well. So the third lesson that I learned is to never stop networking. So not only did I not have an updated resume when I was laid off in January of 2024, but I also did not have a LinkedIn profile because I had previously deleted my original LinkedIn profile years prior to that. And because I was at the same company for so long and in the same role and on the same team, I kind of gave up on networking, and I really regret doing that. Networking is so important, and even just recently in a webinar at work, I heard someone say that your network is your net worth. I don't really believe it's all about who you know, but I think it's all about how you network yourself and how you present yourself to other people and how you communicate with other people as well. So LinkedIn is a really great way to network. I started posting and commenting. I don't think that just having a LinkedIn profile is enough. I think you need to engage, reach out to people, post things if you have time. Some other things that I did to network was I joined an online Slack community. I've mentioned that quite a few times on my channel. It's called Rise. I will put the information in the description box below if you want to check them out. I also jumped on a bunch of different webinars. So I did a SEMrush webinar about how to get a job in marketing. I jumped on another marketing webinar talking about recent social media changes. I recently joined a paid local women's professional membership group, and they do virtual and in-person meetings. There's a lot of things virtually, and locally, if you live near a major city, there seems to be a lot of options as well. For example, Pittsburgh has tons of different organizations, and some of the local museums, like the Carnegie Museum, does some sort of networking event that they host. So there's a lot of different options out there. I highly recommend doing some research online and seeing what you can find in your area. And if you do live in a small town and then maybe there's nothing local that you can do, I would recommend joining some webinars online that are specific to your industry, or maybe joining an online networking group, or seeing if there's any sort of networking mixers or events that are virtual. Additionally, you can check with your employer as well. Sometimes employers do webinars or lunch and learns where even though they're talking about the company or the industry, there might be people from other departments or other areas of the company that you haven't met yet. So you can go to those in person or virtually and maybe meet new people, connect with other people that you wouldn't have met otherwise just within your role and in your team or department. So the second lesson that I learned is that it is really important to have multiple streams of income. I think it's really important that we collectively understand that a full job does not guarantee stability, and that you do need to find additional ways to make money or to have a backup plan or some sort of additional income coming in. And I've talked about this a few times on my channel. I actually have a vlog where I experimented with different side hustles. So some ideas or examples of how to have other streams of income is that you could invest, which is really easy. You just have to save up some money up front. Of course, this is going to involve a little bit of research, and then you just invest, and you can take a portion of your paycheck every month and just automatically set that up to go into your investment account, and you're basically making money doing nothing. Like, you set it up and just let it go automatically, and you're making money in your sleep, and there's not a lot of time involved. You can also pick up a side hustle, so you can do pet sitting, dog walking, you can do content creation. Maybe you resell stuff on eBay or Etsy or Poshmark or Mercari. Maybe you do furniture flips and you sell that on Facebook Marketplace. Maybe you have like a personal passion project. I know some people that enjoy baking, and so they do baking on the side and they sell cakes and cupcakes and things on the side. You can also join research studies. That's something that I did recently on the app D-Scout, which I mentioned in my side hustle vlog, and I actually ended up earning like $120 for one research study, and it really only took me an hour or two, so it ended up being worthwhile. But there's so many different things out there, and if you do want more ideas or other side hustle options, or want to know more about how I have found ways to make other money, you can let me know in the comments, and I'd be happy to make an additional video going into details and talking about that as well. So the last lesson that I learned, and I think that this is the most important lesson, and if there was one thing that you were going to do on this list, I would recommend doing this one, but I am going to warn you, it's also the hardest one to do. But if you can, I highly recommend having a 6-month or more emergency fund. I had an emergency fund prior to getting laid off. I am so grateful that I did that, and so happy that I was able to even do that, because that saved me a lot of stress. It saved me from having a huge financial crisis. It's really helped my mental health, and it made being unemployed for so long so much easier to deal with. I have no idea what I would have done if I wouldn't have had that emergency fund. And I know that this is really hard, and it took me a really long time to get my finances in a good place and straightened out in order to save up that much money. Depending on where you're at with your life and your career, you might not even be in a place where you can save money right now, but I would suggest just to start small. Try to save, even if you can only save, like $10 or $50 once a month. I would put it in a high yield savings account so you're making more money off of the interest, and that goes back into it as well. Another little investment thing there. Again, I'm not a financial expert. This is just based on research and things that I have learned. But I would just start small and then work your way up and try to make it automatic if possible. I think one of the greatest financial lessons that I have ever learned from reading and talking to other people and even watching financial YouTubers is to pay yourself first, and putting money in your savings account and into investments is an example of that. So I think that's really important, and I think that if you're ever in a situation where you have to find a new job or you got laid off or whatever reason you may be between jobs, having that stability is just so important, not only to pay your bills and cover your finances and food and car payments, but just mentally, it's just so helpful. I highly recommend doing that regardless of where you're at in your career, if at all possible, depending on your financial situation. So I hope that the lessons that I learned while being unemployed are also going to be helpful to you. Maybe it's giving you a good place to start. All 5 of these have really made a difference for me, and I'm hoping that they can help you or make a difference for you as well. Let me know in the comments below, what is the biggest career lesson that you learned from being laid off or unemployed? I would love to hear from you. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss another video. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to connecting with you in the next video.